Hi, I'm Mike Rankin here on the Relational podcast. We've got Jason Lavin, the CEO of GoldenComm, which Golden Communications, but I know it as GoldenComm. And welcome, Jason.
Thank you, Mike.
How are you?
Well, happy to see you.
Yes, great to be here. Thank you. So wanted to have you on. We've known each other for a long time. I think we initially met back in the day at Indian Guides. But Jason is one of these individuals who is just incredibly optimistic and runs a great company, GoldenComm. And so give me the thumbnail sketch of GoldenComm and what you guys are doing there.
Oh, GoldenComm is 25 years old now, and our mission is we make websites work harder. So that whole work harder, we like to work hard, but also we like it when the websites are working harder than us.
Right, yeah, working
right.
for us.
That's right, working harder than we are.
Yeah. And you've got folks here in the States as well as globally?
We do. We have an office in next to John Wayne Airport.
Yep.
And that's our headquarters. And then we've got office in Utah. And then internationally, we're in Pune and also in Poland.
Nice.
Yeah. And then just recently, we have a little office that we're piloting in Egypt, Cairo, Egypt.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, you're the second business owner that told me they're just starting up there. Why Egypt?
Well, I'll tell you what happened is, during the pandemic, which we might talk about, maybe not. Maybe It's not a great subject. But what happened was in India, we had 26, 27 people there. Well, they all went home, but they didn't just go home. They went home.
Right. Yes. Yeah. The lineage home, the family.
They went home.
The diaspora.
Like they didn't go home.
Yep.
They went home.
Right.
And frankly, I couldn't get them back in. And India was locked down a little bit more than the normal country.
Right.
And so starting up another, trying to figure it out. I think our guy in Poland says, they love math and they're very educated in Cairo, Egypt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Cairo, we're not going to Cairo. And he says, no, it's like a little vacation hub here.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
it's really, and he said, I would actually like to go down there every now and then.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's great. So we got in touch with an agency, a development agency that does what we need, and so far so good.
Yeah. So 25 years ago when you started, did you ever imagine you would have employees across the globe at that point?
No, because I was supposed to be a professional baseball player.
Yes.
And so I never imagined I'd be in charge of a company.
Yeah.
So I kept on swinging at bad pitches.
And give me the origin story of GoldenComm. How is it that you got in and got started ultimately?
Well, I graduated school and I got lucky because I got hired off the restaurant floor. I was a waiter, just loved waiting tables, and didn't really realize that some of the people I were waiting on over the years, I guess just had a guy say, hey, look me up when you're done with school. So I thought I was going to be in the restaurant business my whole life because I love it. So I promised my mom and dad I would try something besides restaurants. They weren't thrilled. A degree from USC.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay in the restaurant.
It's hard to amortize over a waiter's job, right?
So they said, try it. So I called this guy who hired me off the floor, and I worked for him at a public utility company. It was a water company. So we were just a water utility. And then what happened there is I met a mentor who was teaching me computers. And while I was at the water company learning computers, the internet was just starting. My buddy from college calls me and he says, hey, I'm working for a company. We need a website for one of our clients. Do you know any of our bros that can do a website? And I said, website? No.
How do you spell that again?
I said, well, I can do it probably. Yeah, I could probably do that.
Love it.
And he's like, no, dude, I have a real job.
Right.
And I said, all right, well, I don't know anybody, but I think I could do it.
Yep.
And like 3 weeks later, he must have ran out of options. He goes, do you really think you can do it?
Call you back, Can you bail me out here?
And I said, yeah, I can do it. And he says, well, how much? And I don't even.
Right.
I said, $5,000.
Right.
He says, oh, I said, I need $2,500 up front.
To go buy a computer. Right.
So I did. I got a 486 gateway. Came in the mail in a purple cow box.
Right.
Or black and white cow box.
Yep.
Plug it in. I got Netcom.
Right.
You know, I was
28.8.
So, yeah, it was the U.S. robotics
Yeah, right.
years. Yeah. I don't know. I put a website together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I did another one.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the first time I was in this room at Sunset 17 Studios was a podcast style open enrollment for the employees at GoldenComm.
Oh, here. Yeah.
Yeah, here, right here. And that introduced me to this world, and so I've got you to thank for that. But, you know, fast forwarding now, talk to me a little bit about one of the things I've always found fascinating about you, not only your optimism, but also the value you place on people. Like you really care about the individual and what that person is bringing to the table, regardless of their history, their background, their walk of life. You want to find something in them that you can tease out and help develop. So share with me your journey at GoldenComm with your people and culture and how that your personal philosophy sort of resonates today.
Well, I guess the personal
It's a big
philosophy.
question.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
question. So it's kind of a culture question.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're going to have culture in your company, and whether you like it or not, culture's coming. You know, it's from my perspective as an owner, I can try to form it, or I can let it happen naturally.
Yep.
And you know, I was very, very lucky to have amazing coaches in my life. Like for me, it was sports.
Yep.
Driven, right?
Yep.
For other people, it's music or dance or science or coach, mentor, whatever. And you know, some of the coaches outside of my immediate family, of course, my immediate family is very influential. But you know, I remember my first high school football coach, you know, Coach Ansich, and frankly, if it weren't for him saying some very simple things to me, I am not nearly the person that I am today.
Yep.
Not even nearly. Then it was the guy who hired me off the restaurant floor, Floyd.
Yeah.
He was an amazing coach. 3 weeks into the job, I quit. And he didn't let me quit. He said, you know, that's not part of the deal. Like, well, I'm useless here. I don't fit in. I don't understand anything. He says, actually, you do, and I'll show you how you fit in. And then he gave me to another coach, Diane, who was a mentor. So I have been lucky. Diane's actually, her philosophy was be employable. Because employment means nothing.
Right.
So breaking it down to the philosophy of GoldenComm, I've kind of adopted that phrase. If you walk into our office, see a couple of messages. One message is employment means nothing. Be employable.
Yeah.
Which means I really challenge everybody to, you know, be the best version of themselves from a work standpoint, develop their skills. Because if you can develop a high level of skills, and of course all the interpersonal skills that go with that, you don't need this job.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you don't need this job, you're not afraid. And if you're not afraid, you don't hold back information.
Right.
Right? Because you know you can get a job anywhere you want, at any time you want. And I tell people at work, come to work at GoldenComm, I say, if you work here for 2 years, I absolutely promise you can work anywhere you want, which is the truth. I believe that. So my job is to make you want to still work here.
Yes. Right. Absolutely.
But that's my job.
That's the challenge, right?
Yeah. I don't want people willing to work at GoldenComm. I want people eager to work at GoldenComm.
Yeah.
Right. And so I kind of figured out, because that's how I was when I was working for other people. If I can get everybody eager to work, I don't have much to do.
Right. Well,
So-
and I think it makes me think about there's the concept of fear and abundance, right?
yeah.
And I think many employers might say, well, gee, if I imbue and I train and I give everyone the confidence. Well, gee, what if they leave me and they go somewhere else? It reminds me of the old joke. You've got two owners, and one says, "Oh, we should." We don't want to train everybody up and then have them leave. And the other guy says, well, what if we don't train them and they stay? Right?
I've never heard that.
Yes.
That is fantastic.
Right. What if we don't train them and they stay? So I love the idea that, I think employment is always this two-way street, right? We as the employer, we have to be able to provide, and our staff, the associates, they also contribute. And there's this harmony, I think, that happens when you have an employer that's coming from a position of abundance rather than fear, and not trying to, control everything and everyone and make their profit that way. way, right? I mean, the profit comes from the abundance and the opportunity, and I think that's exciting.
And Mike, that's very inspiring. I'm gonna borrow that.
Yeah, please do.
That is
anytime.
That's very. One of the nuances in our company, which we have never fired anyone ever. 25 years, hundreds of employees through these years. When someone isn't doing a good job, or we don't think they're doing, and we have a peer evaluation system, so it kind of, everyone knows
right
who isn't rowing the boat.
And by the way, they know before you do, in advance.
They know.
Right.
Everybody knows. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, I have never met anyone who says, I'm going to go get this job and be mediocre.
Right.
I just can't imagine.
It happens. May not happen at GoldenComm, but I'm pretty sure it happens.
I don't think it happens, because we have this interview process where we know, and they wanted. So if they're not doing well, I just have to think that we own half of it. Like, we didn't set the expectations correctly, or we didn't tell them the way it was going to be here, or we didn't have the right job. We got them in the wrong side. Right. I don't know what it is, but I consider it 50% on us. Right. So the first step when we have something that we don't feel like is going to work, like a guy or a gal who's not going to be on the team anymore, is the first step is 30% of their job is to look for a new job. And then they report every Friday on the jobs they've looked for. And I frankly will up that to 66% of their job after 2 weeks.
Right.
And then 100% of their job. And the idea is, hey, listen, you got to find a new job, and I'm going to pay you and own it and be with you as long as you're actively looking for a job. You have the skills. I hired you. You certainly had something that I saw. Unless maybe I was the only one who didn't see it. But usually it's not them. It's them plus us. Yeah,
sure. There's some confluence of factors, right?
So that's worked real well for us, and I think culturally, everyone knows that. We're going to do what's right. We're going to try to do our best.
I mean, I think that again, coming back from that position of abundance and growth, I mean, you want that person to succeed in life. It's just not that it didn't work out, in this environment, but that doesn't mean you're not going to be wildly successful, somewhere else.
I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten or run into people, 2-3 years later, where they're just so happy to see me. And no heart, and what? I find out they're thriving.
Yes.
Right. You were in the wrong place.
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't make you a bad person. Doesn't make us a bad company. Wasn't the right fit. Yeah. So that continues to happen.
For sure. One of the things I wanted to chat about was obviously you're in the technology business, making websites work harder, and the artificial intelligence, AI, kind of coming into the workplace, right? And it reminded me, just this last weekend, I was at a graduation ceremony for University of Michigan, and in the commencement speech from Wynton Marsalis, who world-renowned jazz musician, trumpeter, and I would vote for him for president tomorrow. Not to be political, but his speech was so moving, standing ovation at the end. But the basic theme was, graduates, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by messages that are coming in the media. Don't be fooled by big pharma. Don't be fooled by the food industry. So it's really this caveat emptor, kind of buyer beware message, and we need you now. The other thing he said is, don't be fooled by AI, because we still need educated people. We need people who can think for themselves and discern what's real and what's not. He said that AI can spit out the recipe for you, but it can't teach you how to cook. So when you think about not only GoldenComm and your culture, but hiring employees in the future, how does AI and the influence of that, and how do you see AI from your seat?
Yeah, well, okay. How do we see AI? Okay. Well, first of all, we're using AI in moderation, and I'm happy with some of the results most of the time. Okay, well, obviously, that's not good enough.
Right. Some of the results most of the time.
Right. That's not good enough.
So would you say that you have AI, 30% of its job is looking for a new job?
It's going to be bridged up to 66% in 2 more weeks if it doesn't straighten out. Yeah. So, but no, there are things that we use. Now, first of all, AI, I mean, I know I'd be the last person to be the expert on this, but this whole AI thing wasn't that called machine learning not too long ago?
Yes.
And
3 weeks
before
ago.
that, wasn't that called macros?
Right.
Like some sort of macro automations. And so really, I think what's happened is it just got a better looking face, and it's been rebranded to some degree, because we've been using AI we've been using this version of AI, because to me, it's not AI. It's like a super search, at least how we're using it.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's gathering anything that isn't already out there.
Right.
Nothing that it gives me back isn't available to me out there, because that's where it found it.
Sure.
Out there.
Right.
Right. So I look at AI at GoldenComm, the way we're using it, I look at it is that we just hired like 7 interns.
Right.
You know, and I can,
That still need a lot of coaching and
everyone,
development.
Everyone, get in here. Okay, guys, we need to go find out every golf course that is, private golf courses in this area. So go find it, and then they'll go out and just
Right.
And they used to take them, several days to come up with that list, and now it just takes them a few minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that can be useful until there's 1 or 2 pieces of bad information in there that you look absolutely ridiculous if you run with it.
Right. Yes.
Because if you start running with AI, as the speech said it in your. By the way, congratulations if you're at.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Those Annie's graduation.
Okay, yeah, way to go.
Yeah.
So you start running with data from AI, and you aren't the expert to check it and confirm it. Well, you look like perhaps a moron.
Oh, sure.
Presenting stuff as an expert that is incorrect.
Right.
So AI works for us. It's like having a whole team of interns, and I like that because a lot of the work that it produces is pretty darn good.
Yep.
Some of it might even be great, but then there's a whole bunch of garbage too.
Right.
Which is what having interns do.
Right. And that's where I think, from our perspective, I mean, we use it to fashion, agendas and blog posts and all of this kind of stuff. And it's great for 80% of what you need. But then you still need to season it and salt and pepper with your expertise. You need to be able to weed out the bad information. And then you also want to kind of put your twist on it.
I agree.
So it's, but I think as it continues to develop, it's going to be interesting. I know for our kids and young people entering the workforce, I think it can create, a fair amount of anxiety, right? Am I just going to be, relegated to the sidelines with this new machinery? And this is where I think, human beings are special creatures. And I think that our ability to connect and relate and understand people, and this idea of emotional intelligence is going to be more important than ever. To keep us, kind of bound as a society and moving in the same direction. And so I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic, I'm positive, but I think it's really focusing on those things that are uniquely human that the machine learning can't do at the end of the day.
I agree with all that. We've never had the massive amount of information. Having even more of a massive amount of information doesn't seem to be the solution.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Our cups runneth over at this point.
That's
right?
not the solution.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you still need, I guess now more than ever, I think what AI has done, and this is on the GoldenComm. My context is using it in an office environment.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, we have self-driving cars.
Yep.
We have all these other things that all have their own take on it, but to me, it's just made me even more skeptical,
right,
and more curious.
Yes.
Like, I wonder if that's. I used to work for a public company, and in the public company, I had access to privileged information, and I would read the analyst reports that come out after earnings, and the analysts were just not right.
Right. Exactly.
They were talking about things that weren't correct. Because I know it was correct, and I'm reading this analyst report, and I'm thinking, I wonder if everyone that reads this believes this, because it's just not correct.
Well, and there are positions of authority, and people do.
Of course.
Right.
Be careful.
Yes, exactly. Very, very careful.
Careful what you read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's happening with the Lavin family as we close here? Anything new and exciting, or what's on the horizon for you?
You
guys?
know what? We're growing up. You know, I got like you. I've got kids out of the house. I got one left. That's a junior in high school, and he is extremely well supervised.
Yes, right. Yes,
because
there's all the focus is.
we
right.
know where
Yes.
we know where Jimmy is.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So I don't. He probably likes that because he probably didn't get as much of attention as the other ones did maybe growing up.
Right.
So
Right.
Thanks for asking. Things are good, and things are good. Just a little shout out to you. You know, one of the things that we make a big deal out in our company is our strong benefits package. So I have to say that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And how easy you make enrollment or re-enrollment, and just the, you know, my employees really do tune in. Your and your staff's service support is fantastic, but also your approach, how you just start your approach with, hey, let's have a financial and personal conversation.
Yep.
And let's talk about your
little
family's
financial
budget,
planning
your
session,
financial
right.
planning,
Yep.
and all that's bonus.
Yep.
It's all bonus, Mike.
Yep.
So
Yep.
thanks for that.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and we'll close on this, but the idea of Relational not only was to help the employers and the owners, but also to provide some fundamental financial education for the employees, because there's so much misinformation out there in my view. I mean, yes, information is everywhere, and you can, you know, chat GPT it or whatever you want to do, but the reality is that most people need very basic fundamental ideas on budgeting. How much of this should I have? How much of that should I have? And the industry, as you might imagine, the insurance industry that is really designed not to provide basic financial information to those that don't need exorbitant, you know, financial plans. It's built to sell product. And so I feel like one of our roles as a, you know, conceptually as a fiduciary is to protect people from that and try to help them with, you know, one might call it, you know, kind of fatherly or parenting style advice where, hey, this is really what's in your best interest. So thank you for noticing that.
Well, that is what you guys do. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Well, Jason, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Really appreciate the time, and look forward to seeing you soon.
I bet you I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Okay, man.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Yeah.